Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid. It's about 6:20 a.m. August 2nd, 2018, and it's a beautiful morning. It's been raining a lot lately. You know, I've talked often about fish. Yesterday I was talking about saving some fish that had overflowed from my pond due to the flash floods from the night before. And some folks have commented about wanting to see some fishing videos. I pointed out in the comments, which I'll share with you here, we've been longing very much so to make some fishing videos because we love to fish. We have some really nice catfishing spots, and we want to make some videos showing you guys a particular way we fish. It's called jugging. I know a lot of you know what that is. It's where you tie a line to like a water bottle or an empty milk gallon. We use just empty water bottles, like 20-ounce water bottles or 16-ounce, and catch fish that way. You put the line on, run it down, put the hook in the bait, and float them out across the hole. And then of course when the catfish take the bait, they kind of hook themselves, and you see I've heard these called hillbilly bobbers. You'll see them race across the water hole, the river, the lake, wherever you are, and then you just go pull it in by hand. We have a lot of fun doing that. So we do have plans to share that kind of stuff with you. It's just the rain's got to stop. So anyway, it looks like a beautiful day. But guys, I'm back to the ramble here. I'm just kind of pulling some thoughts together very randomly, and this has to do with the zombie apocalypse, which I believe is already here. I'll give you a little bit of backstory here. You know, we live way out in the sticks. I mean, we're eventually going to get off the grid. I mean, we're always going to have internet because, I mean, how else would you see this channel otherwise? But we're on well water. We don't have cable. We don't do TV, and we do have goals and plans to eventually get solar panels for our electricity. That's a little bit out there into the future because that takes a little bit of money. And but anyway, we recently visited the idea of getting like some sort of backup internet system because we are so far out. When our net goes down, it can be a bit uncomfortable because we do work on social media here. But and sometimes we just have to go into town, bite the bullet and go into town and find a Wi-Fi hotspot to get internet access if we're having problems with our internet out here. So we recently decided we would go to Sprint, get on like a family plan, get the new iPhones and all this stuff, so that if our internet were to go down here, we would have backup. Now look, you're gonna laugh, but here's my Civil War era cell phone. This is what I've been using for years because it works. And you know what I do? I do the prepay thing. And it's not because of any issues with my credit, or I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars a month on something that I barely use or that's just not necessary. I just think that's kind of being stupid with money. And so when I wasn't working, and that was a 6-month period, the only other than that 6-month period when I was working at the post office, and a lot of people have been saying, hey, did you reveal your employer? Yeah, it was U.S. Postal Service. I was a mailman. City carrier's assistant, technically. But anyway, other than that time, I mean, I very rarely would even use this I use it for our kids' school, to be in contact, and my wife has something very similar. I prepay, and I got used to this in the Philippines because there you buy a load, like you go spend 200 pesos, which is about $5. And then you get so many texts and calls before you're out of your load and you have to go refill it. So I got so used to doing that. When I came back to the US, I just went this route, and I literally spend less than $100 a year on cell phone usage because I'll put $50 on it, and then 6 or 7 months later, I'll try to use it, and I'll get the message, hey, my account balance is low, and so I'll just refill it. So it's $100 a year. But I mean, and would you expect anything less from a guy who makes half of his videos on YouTube from a $3 thrift store camera? Here it is. And to further my point, would you really expect anything less from a guy whose primary writing utensil is a crayon? All right, now, it's intentional, guys, and this is kind of what I want to talk about today, and it's the zombie apocalypse. It's already here. I mean, so we get these phones, we bring them out here, and we couldn't get a signal. You know, when Sprint showed us the map, of course, when they show you the map, you're always in the coverage area, right? And we were right there on the cuspid. And I said to the guy, this isn't going to work. We are way out. You know, if you go a little bit further past our house, you can probably see dinosaurs. That's how far back we live. And the guy's like, ha, ha, ha. So we get out here, it didn't work. I mean, we couldn't get a signal. We walked to the highest point of our property, still no signal. So we, of course, weren't going to pay the monthly fees for a service that wouldn't work. And so we took them back. And so we were talking to the guy yesterday. Well, we're going back into town, and we had to dodge at least 2 cars on the way in because the drivers of the other cars were on their cell phones while they were driving. They had crossed the center line. That happened twice, and you guys know what I'm talking about. When you're out there, you see it happening too. I hope you're not those people on your phones while you're driving. I told my wife yesterday that the closest I probably ever came to having a seriously bad day when I was a mailman was I was in a quiet neighborhood. Hardly any traffic in this place. It was a well-to-do neighborhood. It's a type of neighborhood people don't just come in and out of because it doesn't connect to anywhere. If you're in there, it's because you live in there or you're providing a service to somebody that lives in there. And I was back in there that day because I was delivering mail. And I'm somewhat hearing impaired due to my military service, but I still have decent hearing. I was behind the truck and I had a package to deliver, and I stepped out from behind the truck. And yes, I mean, I should have maybe been a little more cautious, but there was nothing coming. I didn't hear anything coming. As I'm stepping out, this car comes flying by so fast and so close to me, it nearly clipped me. If I would have started to step out from behind that truck half a second sooner, I probably wouldn't be here today. And you know how when you're in a situation like this, everything slows down, you see everything in slow motion, it's like this. So that's what it was like. And but I saw in slow motion that this woman driving this car on her cell phone had no clue I was there. And then I was thinking, how could she not see this big truck? She had no clue that truck was there. She had no clue that street was there. She was flying down the road. Maybe the speed limit back in there was 15 or 20 miles an hour because it was residential, well-to-do residential. She had to have been going 40. And that's not the only time that happened. That's just the closest that, someone probably ever came to hitting me while I was doing that. So you guys know what I'm getting at here. It's a zombie apocalypse. I was happy that out here we didn't get a signal. Now, we have discipline. We're very disciplined. We have devoted time where we'll use the technology. I mean, I'm a writer, so of course I have my laptop in the house that I write on. But when I'm finished, I turn it off, I shut it down, and I'm done. I spend my time with my family. We come outside. When we're doing anything on the internet, I do it. I turn it off, I finish it, I'm done. And my wife's the same way. And we very much limit our son's usage. We're Amazon Prime members, and there are some educational shows on Amazon that we allow our son to watch. I'll tell you what, he's 7, he's gonna be in 2nd grade. We like to let him watch a show called Odd Squad. It's these cute little kids. They're like detectives, and they use mathematical skills to solve their problems. There's one called Wild Kratts. It's a couple of brothers that are probably 50-ish who teach a lot about science. So we let him watch these things. We know he's learning something while he's being entertained, and we limit it. I mean, if he's been on there for an hour, we make him stop. We go outside and we play. Yesterday, he and I spent a lot of time in the morning with his Legos in his bedroom, and he was making a flying car. I was tired, I was dozing off, and I kind of fell asleep, I don't know for how long, and I woke up and he had this entire city built around me. So anyway, and then we're going to show you this later. We've attacked a lot of these built up chores, and one of which was the garden. We showed you a video the other day. We're weeding and harvesting some vegetables. We got that portion of that garden completely weeded yesterday, and I want to thank all of you who suggested that we use our weeds for a compost pile, because we did that. So now we've got this huge compost pile, and we're going to attack the other half of the garden today and get those weeds. So these are the kind of things we do instead of sitting around glued on our cell phone. We just don't do it. I mean, there's nothing to be glued to here. I mean, I used to joke when I did work, I said I had a Civil War era cell phone. So anyway, and I want to point out here, I'm not judging. I mean, if you're part of the apocalypse, the zombie apocalypse, that's your choice. And I'm, part of living simply like we do is to do so others can simply live. And Please understand, I'm not coming across as judging. What I'm saying is, for us and our family, this is a way of life we don't want to enter. And had we gotten the Sprint signal out here, and had we had those phones, you know, and been able to use them for backup internet purposes and whatnot, I know we would have had the discipline to not become part of the apocalypse, because we've had, I mean, before we got out here and when we were in the Philippines, it's the same thing there. I mean, this apocalypse is worldwide. We would go to the beach there a lot, and I would look around and I'd notice everybody's on their phones, everybody's taking selfies and pictures and all these things. And then just before they'd leave, they'd make sure to spend a couple minutes in the water, then they'd leave. And I would tell my wife, this is so strange, because 30, 40 years ago when I was a kid, we'd go to the beach, we'd play in the water all day, we'd play in the sand, and then at the last minute, just before we left, we'd take a couple Polaroids to have the memories. So it's like inverse now, it's opposite. So we were taking these phones back to the Sprint store, and I'm telling the guy kind of what I'm talking about here. I'm like, I know you probably think I'm crazy. And he was like in his early 30s, and I'm 44, so he probably thought I was just some old fuddy-duddy. And he stops and he goes, no, he says, I kind of get what you're saying. He says, you know, I had a friend come over the other day, and I thought I heard deer running, but it's not. It's a neighbor dragging their trash can down to the road, which I'm glad I heard that, because it's trash day. I got to drag my trash down there. But he says, so I had a friend come over the other night, and we decided that we would go off the grid too. You know, I was telling him kind of how we live out here, and he goes, so I turned off my laptop, then I turned off my tablet, then I turned off, his name, some other gadget, and he goes, I even turned off my phone, or my watch. And I was like, you turned off your watch? What's this guy talking? He showed me his watch. He had one of these Apple smartwatch things. I was like, my gosh, why do you have so many gadgets always connected? He goes, well, in case somebody needs to get in touch with me, I want to make sure they can reach me. I'm like, why, are you expecting a baby or something? No. Well, who are you expecting it? Well, you just never know. Somebody might have to get in touch. And again, that's him, and that's his choice, and that's great. But I'm thinking in my head, my gosh, it's worse than I thought. So anyway, the zombie apocalypse is here. We don't have to be preparing for it or worried about it coming, because it's here. We might piece a video together for you and share with you later. I've been telling you about how we like to go into town and walk around the campus of UVA. We did that yesterday, but it kind of got dark on us there before we could get to the end. I wanted to show you behind the rotunda, this place called The Lawn. And my wife, she was looking at the other clips of the video, and she says it's great and we should put it together and share it. So we're probably going to, but if you watch it, understand the ending isn't quite what I wanted to show you. But I guess we can go back another time. We're in town about once a week. But we're probably going to go back in here sooner than that, because we're getting this garden ready to plant our fall crops, and we've got to go pick up some seeds and whatnot. But we're walking around campus. There wasn't a lot of people there because it's August. The students are still gone for the summer, most of them, except those who take summer classes. And you just look around and you see everybody glued to their phones, and you see them just walking into traffic. Now they're on campus, there are crosswalks for the students, and the cars have to stop. The students have the right of way, so they're a little safer there. But I've seen this one time, and this was back in the Philippines. We were in Davao City, and we're going down the road, and I see this girl walking into traffic on her cell phone, and I wanted to yell, stop, look. It was just happened so many times. And there was a guy coming down the road driving a tricycle. It's a motorcycle with the sidecar, and he's on his phone, and they ran into each other. I mean, he knocked the girl down, it broke the side mirror off the sidecar, and so it's like worldwide, the zombie apocalypse. And so, you know, we talk about gratitude lists. Here this morning, formulating my gratitude list, I'm very grateful that my family and I have chosen not to participate in this zombie apocalypse, and I'm grateful we didn't get that Sprint signal the other day, because that would have moved us one step closer toward perhaps doing so, rather than keeping us away from it. And again, I'm not judging, but I've talked to people who have told me, and they laugh when they say this, and I want to cry for them, that the only way they can communicate with their teenage children or older children who are in their house is if they send them a text message or an IM. And that's just heartbreaking to me. But if that's how they choose to live, that's their right, that's their prerogative. So the sun is almost up. Dearly promised me she was going to get up a little bit earlier today, because we really want to get back in this garden, get these weeds out, plant these fall crops. So I'm going to kind of wrap this up a little quicker than I usually do. And I don't know if you even got anything out of this, but I just kind of wanted to share my thoughts and my take on the zombie apocalypse with you. Watch out, folks, because it's here. And again, live the way you want to live, But please, if nothing else, if you're driving your car, stay off your phones, hang up and drive. I mean, it's not just for you and your safety, but there's other people out there you might really hurt or kill. So with all this said, I'm gonna give you a parting shot of the homestead. You guys have a great day. We got over 500 new subscribers yesterday. We want to thank everybody who's been coming and subscribing. You mean so much to us. And if you've not subscribed yet, please do so today, and we'll see you next time.